In the last 2 decades, both house prices and private homeownership have grown dramatically across Europe, transforming the role and meaning of home. Although ratios vary, in 2015 over 71% of Europeans were homeowners, most with little or no mortgage. For many, having most of their financial equity in their home has increased feelings of security. However, intensified commodification of the home has undermined access to housing, enhanced debt, and stimulated new patterns of inequality and financial instability. Our study of family and property wealth, named HOUWEL, looks at the changing role of housing and homeownership in different European contexts and its increasing centrality to investment, security, and welfare strategies. While we have recently experienced a period of widespread growth in homeownership, becoming a homeowner has actually become more difficult, especially for younger people. Firstly, job conditions have gradually deteriorated, with the proportion of well-paid, stable jobs necessary for home purchase dwindling. Temporary or part-time jobs have also become more common among young people. Before the financial crisis, easy access to mortgage credit allowed many people to buy their homes, despite diminishing labor security. However, the crash of 2008 put an end to easy credit, a root cause of the crisis. Added to this has been inconsistent state support, growing austerity, and uneven house price recovery. Our research has revealed stark reductions in access to homeownership across many European countries, especially among younger cohorts. In many contexts, large increases in young people renting has supported the idea of a generation rent. The flip side of generation rent has been a growth in the number and wealth of landlords, people who not only own their own home, but also someone else's. The number of young people who have to stay on or return to the parental home has grown dramatically. The HOUWEL research has revealed recent breakdowns in traditional housing ladders for many Europeans, as well as growing socioeconomic inequalities. On the one hand, the gap between generations has widened, as both job prospects and homeownership access for young people have been undermined compared to those of their parents. On the other hand, within younger cohorts, the gap between those that have access to resources to enter the housing market and those that don't has also grown. Increasingly, whether or not your parents are able to support you in buying a home determines your chances on the housing market. In the UK, for example, nearly 75% of people aged 25 to 29 who entered homeownership in 2013 had parental support. This is up from 25% in 2005. Similar increases in generational interdependence have also been seen in countries like Ireland, Italy, and Spain, where family help was already well embedded in housing practices. Indeed, even in countries associated with generational independence, like the Netherlands and Denmark, parental support has become an integral part of mortgage practices and central to homeownership access. But what does this increased interdependence between generations mean? How do people understand giving and receiving support? In our study, we examined 5 European country case studies to answer these questions. The key seems to be in the value placed on autonomy. North European countries, like the UK and the Netherlands, actively nurture the autonomy of young adults. Financial support is relatively small and comes as a reward for personal efforts. In countries like Italy or Romania, meanwhile, relationships are more clearly dependent. Material support keeps children close, and even while some young people may feel trapped in the gilded cage of a new home provided by the family, others perceive support as something they're entitled to. Diverging meanings of homeownership also influence relationships between generations. While most Europeans prefer owning to renting, homeownership is valued differently across Europe. While a Dutch or a British person may see buying a house as a rite of passage and lifetime mortgage payments as quite normal, a Romanian or an Italian might not see this as a desirable scenario and thus avoid it unless no other option exists. So, while the investment and asset value of the house is paramount to the typical British homeowner, a Romanian may focus more on the value of housing as secure shelter and property to pass on from one generation to another. So far, government responses to shifting housing and economic conditions have largely failed to grasp the centrality of homeownership and dependency on it for meeting a variety of needs, as well as the growing inequalities between and within generations. Our findings have, therefore, important policy implications and reveal the growing importance of housing wealth to family relations, economic security, and welfare conditions across Europe. For more on our research and findings, go to howwel.uva.nl.